Hello, this is Farah. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is my hijab story. Okay, so this is, put my shoulders straight. Yeah, this is going back to the 1980s, so it might be a long time ago for some of you young people. Of course, if you're not familiar with the 1980s, it was a time when you had music like Duran Duran, Culture Club. I was a big Culture Club fan. I was crazy about Queen, Blondie was very cool. And you know, back in the day, we were very modern. Now, at the time in Britain, I was like second generation Asian Pakistani. And at the time you didn't see many hijabbed women, so it was much more unusual, and it was a bit of a strange time, because as youths growing up in Britain, we did feel, I did feel anyway, that I wasn't cultural. You know, like my parents and their generation, I wasn't very cultural at all, and I did very much associate with being British, but at the same time I couldn't mix properly with my non-Muslim friends, because I didn't drink, I didn't go to pubs, I didn't go to discos, I didn't go to nightclubs, so you kind of were stuck in the middle of two cultures. I think a lot of young Muslims started turning to their faith, and I don't think they turned to it as a kind of identity, but it did give them an identity, and we started to call ourselves British Muslims, and we started to follow our faith in a way that our parents weren't doing, and it was actually seemed, it was from the youth that the headscarf started to emerge, that it was the young girls that started covering their head and wearing hijab, and the older generation didn't. And there were sort of two kind of groups of people that I became involved in. One of them was an organisation called Young Muslims, and they a lot of the girls would wear the headscarf there. They were all very proactive, you know, promoting positive messages about Islam and trying to enlighten others. And we were quite proactive in those days. I remember in one summer in Regent's Park Mosque, we arranged a programme for children, for Muslim children, so they came along, and we had all these fun kind of handicrafts and activities, and I arranged a class which was called Maths for Fun, and I did that with the kids. And although it was fine, I never really felt part of their group. But another place that really affected me was Sufism. My husband was very much involved in Sufism, and he was with a sheikh called Sheikh Nazim, and would go to their gatherings, and it just was the most amazing place. I'd never seen so many multicultural Muslims. There were Muslims from America, Muslims from Ireland, Muslims from England, all over the world, and some of my husband's friends were actually hippies at Woodstock. You know, it was absolutely amazing. And the ladies there, they were all in their headscarves, and they were very bohemian. They were wearing like the harem trousers, and the scarves they were wearing, I'll show you. In those days, it was like the square scarves. And I think that's where I got my first headscarf from, really, was these kind of bohemian ones, really nice. So I probably, you know, wore it when I went to Sufi mosque for the prayers and whatever, but a real pivotal point for me happened when I was sitting on the tube. Now, I wasn't the kind of person, the kind of girl, although I wasn't wearing a headscarf, I always like to be covered, so I wasn't comfortable wearing very tight clothes. I wasn't comfortable showing my arms. I had long hair and I kept it in a plait. I wasn't comfortable having my hair open. And what actually happened was I was sitting on the tube and there was this man kind of sitting opposite me, and he was just leering at me, and it was horrible. It made me feel so uncomfortable, and I felt really violated. And then it just suddenly dawned on me that I haven't consciously done anything to attract this kind of attention, and this man is still looking at me like this. And then it just dawned on me that what it says in Islam about a lady covering her hair, it's right, and it's for her own protection. And that was a pivotal point for me. That was something that I just felt in my heart, and from then on I knew that it was correct for me to be wearing a headscarf. Now, when I started to wear the headscarf, what was interesting is that I actually found it hardest to wear it at any kind of Pakistani gatherings, but where there are a lot of Pakistani people, like weddings and things like that. So because it was more unusual at the time amongst Pakistani people. Most of them weren't wearing it, so I would just tend to wear it loosely, and that's how I felt comfortable in the beginning. And there were some ladies who would find it very strange and make comments like, "Oh, that's a little bit over the top," or comments that indirectly applied that. And one woman, she found it quite funny, and she said, "Oh, well, you look like an Arab lady." And it's interesting that 20 plus years down the line, they are themselves actually wearing a headscarf now. Now, at that time, we didn't have all these elaborate ways of wearing the headscarf. It was all kept very simple. So a lot of people were in the square ones. I'll show you, this is one of my first ones. I've still got it. Must be more than 30 years old. But it's really nice, and it's really soft, and it's from a shop called Tyrak. And I don't know whether they have Tyrak anymore, but it was a scarf that just sold accessories, you know, like accessorise. So we just put them over like that, yeah, and then tie them. It would just be like that. Everybody was in square scarves, and it'd be like that, you know. Some people would want to cover their chin to do it like that, but I was all right, just be like that with a pin. Now, when oh gosh, when the long headscarf finally came in, I never got comfortable with wearing a long headscarf or wearing kind of an undercap. I was always more comfortable in the square headscarves, and certainly in those days there weren't all these elaborate kind of ways of wearing a headscarf, and the girls were much simpler. They didn't wear lots and lots of makeup. It was kind of contradictory to wear a headscarf and wear loads of makeup. And I know a lot of the girls that wear hijab now, they do wear a lot of makeup. They do it very well and very professionally, and they wear all these elaborate headscarves. And at the time, it was only, I think, the Arab ladies who used to do that, wear perfume, wear lots of makeup, and then their hijabs, they suddenly got very big. I think there's some kind of bun you can wear underneath, but certainly in my time it was very simple. It was square headscarves, and up until this day I haven't been able to wear the long ones. Sometimes when I'm on set they give me a long one, so I wear it quite simply, and my hair's a bit puffy, so that bit tends to show, but I'm not comfortable wearing an undercut because then I get too hot.